What went through your mind when you realized the police were now involved?
Now, which one is this? At the airport?
When the Guardian did their thing with the police warning.
Oh, well, it's funny, but the police warning, again, as I say, I knew this guy was just a fraudster. And when they rang me, I thought they were going to investigate him. That's how naive I was.
Being naive is not good, right?
Yeah, not very good.
Jordan Peterson says it's not wise. I mean, looking back, was that the moment you realized that the issue could bring state pressure into your life?
Yeah, but I didn't even think it was so crazy. I mean, I hope you find a picture of Stephanie Hayden and flash a picture of him.
We will.
Because when you see what he looks like, you will see how insane this whole thing is.
This picture here.
Oh, that's Stephanie Hayden, yeah.
There she is. There's Stephanie.
Please don't say she.
He's a he, whatever.
He's very much
like
a he.
Dude, that's for sure.
He's a thug.
Man.
And yet it's still happening. And then you have in Australia, I don't know if you know this story, there's a woman who tried to open a woman-only app, right? So girls could get together and do things like organize car shares, try and get rentals together, all that sort of stuff. Lovely idea. And this guy called Roxy Tickle, who looks like Bill Sykes from Oliver.
That's quite a name.
Yeah, it's a porno name. They're all porn obsessed, these guys. Mm-hmm. And he tried to get in, and when he couldn't get in, he's suing her. So this has been something like 4 years. He's had her held up, tied up in court, trying to get this huge strapping bloke off her woman-only app. And the Australian government actually said in the first time round, they said, yes, he's a woman. You have to let him in. Mm. So she's going back to appeal. I mean, this is where we are now. Australia is possibly about to say that there is no such thing as women. There's only like men and this other group that men can also be a part of, you know? And it's like we're all just floating into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Where do you think it's all headed? What's the destination of this? Is there going to be a pendulum swing back, or is it going to get worse?
Well, you guys gave us the pendulum swing back. Trump has been brilliant on this, you know, like fixing women's sports, stopping mutilation and sterilization of children. He's been amazing. I've gone from, I was telling you earlier, James, like I used to think the right in the US were just either crazy or evil or stupid. That was the way I thought, because I was a left-wing, liberal, progressive guy, so I thought. And then my own side started coming out with this stuff. And
when you say your side, what do you mean?
You know, liberals, progressives. They started coming out with this stuff, and I realized very quickly that not only was I wrong about them, but I was wrong about everyone.
It's rare that someone changes their mind.
Well, you have to be really fucking kicked in the teeth by the left before you wake up sometimes. You know.
Was it a day? Was it over a period of time? Was it all of a sudden?
Yeah, period of time. And then I started looking back at people who I'd always assumed were evil, like you. Like I remember when you were.
You thought I was evil?
Well, I remember you didn't you do a story on Planned Parenthood?
Yeah, it was in 2007.
Yeah, and wasn't it about something like baby parts?
That was David Daleiden, who I wasn't the one who actually did that one.
Right. But it was Project Veritas?
It was David Daleiden working for his own NGO. But I have talked to David Daleiden. I did videos on Planet before then, but I know what you're talking about.
Well, I was, you know, I
it was
marched.
2015.
Yeah. And basically, I remember the baby parts, selling baby parts thing, and I thought that is so obviously untrue and so obviously a lie that this is like clearly just a sort of trolling exercise.
When you say so obviously untrue,
yes.
Why did you? It's on
because
video.
It seemed so absurd and evil and sort of cartoonishly evil. I didn't accept it could be happening.
So people believe what they want to believe, basically.
Yeah, and also, and you know, then I had a similar experience, right? Because I would be telling people things like, for instance, this is absolutely true, that WPath links to a website called the Eunuch Archives, which is like a bunch of short stories about castration. Okay, this is supposedly the world leader in trans healthcare, okay? And the stories are all porno stories about castration. 40%, there's 4,000 stories, 40% of them are tagged minor. That's WPath is linking to this website. So So I say stuff like that, and people think I'm crazy, and that I'm making it up, and that something just clicked within me. But it's like, no, just because I'm telling you all this stuff, like it's not me engaging in it. I'm just simply telling you what's happening. But they won't accept it. They'd rather think I've gone crazy.
This is the one thing that's really important. You're talking about in America. It's like people. I've done these videos, and what's different about video is that it's incontrovertible. You can't debate it. It's not me. I mean, this is new. I'm new to the podcast. I told you before we started, you're about the 20th or the 21st guest we've had. I do deep dive investigative journalism, and it's self-evident. It's first-person observation journalism.
Yes.
It's not me telling you about abortion. Frankly, I don't express my opinion on it. And yet, even though you see it, and they're talking about it, you still don't believe it because it doesn't reconcile with your at the time.
Yeah, or simply you've just chosen, and I think this was true of me, you've just chosen a number of journalistic sources that you will believe stuff from them. Okay?
I see.
And I used to think that, and so I was believing things like the Daily Cause, Media Matters. When it came to America, because I was fascinated by American politics.
In Britain, you were watching the Media Matters.
Yeah, no, I was
because they're far left.
They're lunatics. but again, I was just like I don't know.
You went to like MediaMatters.whatever it is. .com.
Yeah, I had like all these different websites up. Also, there were people, there were websites like Boing Boing and kind of alternative websites.
Did you get your news from the BBC?
A little bit, yeah. I trusted the BBC, which I don't anymore. I mean, the whole thing. It was just. I now realise, right, that if we don't do something about the level of trust in news gathering, and if we don't do something about the like the New York Times today described the bomb that was thrown in New York as something like a package wrapped with explosives. It's like, it's a bomb. Why are you lying to your readers? There's all sorts of these things, and they keep going on. And
it's confirmation bias, isn't it? Because the New York Times doesn't want to piss on their audience, so to speak.
Sure.
They don't want to give them facts that are irreconcilable with their own audience's worldview.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm talking about. We're losing the ability to know what's real because we don't,
Speaking of the BBC featured you in a segment that drew complaints. This is 2020 now, after you compared doctors treating trans-identifying children to Nazi-era experimentation. I think we have a little clip.
Oh, God, do I have to watch this again?
This is 103. BBC
But what
Nazis.
about comparing people in the trans debate to speaking out against Nazis? I mean, that's pretty extreme.
Well, there's a couple of parallels. One is that at the moment, children are basically being experimented on with puberty blockers. For instance...
Come on, you're not seriously trying to say that children going to the doctor and saying that they're worried about their gender is akin to children being experimented on in Nazi concentration camps?
I'm afraid I am, because Lupron, which is a drug that's supposed to be meant for end-stage cancer prostate cancer treatment, is being given to young girls. It has never been tested on girls. It has never been tested on women. That's happening to young women at the moment.
There's a couple of issues here. One of them is that these are doctors who are doing this, and you don't have any medical training to know about this. But the other is that they are doing it by choice. It is deeply offensive to compare this to Nazi concentration camps.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing it to Nazi concentration camps.
If you want to have a reasonable debate about what's going on with gender identity in this country, we can't talk about Nazis in the same breath.
The thing about the Nazi comment was what I was trying to get across was that this is a hinge moment in history, just like during the Nazis. And we always ask ourselves the same questions. We ask ourselves, what would I have done? Would I have bowed down? Would I have done everything I was told to do? Or would I have resisted? Would I have stood up, and would I have stood up alongside people who were trying to do the right thing? That's what I'm trying to do at the moment. And it's being made very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's quite a. I mean, were you feeling that adrenaline in that moment.
Oh yeah, you can see my knee.
Yeah,
my knee going.
Your knee was shaking. I mean, it's tough. This is difficult.
I'm so naive throughout all of this. You know, outside the BBC, there's a statue of George Orwell, and it says something like, you know, we must have the right to offend, you know, or something. I can't remember the exact quote, but you know, something about telling the truth even though it causes people pain or something like this, or causes people discomfort. And I took a picture of myself beside that quote, as if you know, the BBC was still living by that rule. But then I went in, I found out I had 5 minutes, and she immediately took this attitude with me, and I realized, oh, this is just a hit job, you know. So yeah, I was actually kind of proud of myself. I think I stood up for myself pretty well. At one point she said, I was so frustrated, I sort of shouted, you know, you don't tell kids they've been born in the wrong body because they're kids and they will believe you, you know. And so I got a couple of things out, but in general, that's the attitude that I've had from the very start of this. And the BBC is very, very captured, you know.
And you didn't apologize, though. You didn't back down.
No, and in fact, the first vaginoplasty, which is the most common procedure used in trans surgeries, was performed by a guy called Erwin Gobhardt, who was in the Luftwaffe and tortured people in I think it was Dachau, you know. So it's not even a weak connection. It's a very strong connection. It's like, there's your trans history, you know.
This is James O'Keefe. You know me for exposing the truth and holding the corrupt elite accountable. But today I want to talk to you about protecting your own freedom, your retirement. Now, gold is soaring above $4,200 an ounce right now and climbing towards $5,000. That's up over 45% this year alone, with silver closing in on $60 an ounce. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and major banks are now forecasting gold between $5,000 and $6,000 within the next 6 to 12 months. And that's why I've partnered with American Independence Gold, a veteran-owned company where proceeds from every sale help support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. And right now, my followers get a free gold bar with every purchase of $10,000 or more. Go to O'KeefeMediaGold.com, that's O'KeefeMediaGold.com, or call 833-324-4653. That's 833-324-GOLD. This is James O'Keefe, where freedom isn't given, it's secured. This is not financial advice. Consult a professional before making investment decisions.